This is my dad, Freddie Vasquez.
This is Basement Politics Unfiltered, the day after the primaries. Who won? Who lost?
Let's get it popping. Let's get it popping.
Good afternoon, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Today is June 28th, the day after the primary. And the mayor is celebrating. He won. I do this. Based on everything that we were hearing, the mayor had outspent the other two candidates significantly. Campaign workforce that he had was unlike the other. So that's that. However, the other races, Mike Green in District 5, Ron Chute, those races are close. Green is up only by 10 votes. I'd definitely take a look into that if I was Ron's people. So let's take a look really quick. Again, nothing's changed. I'm going to actually look at the 8,144 people came out in the primary for mayor. There are, I was counting active Democrats in the city of Yonkers. I didn't get all the, I didn't count all the different districts, but they're about at least 30,000, 30, maybe more, 60,000, I think maybe. Let's say 30,000. Where are those active Democrats? They're active. I'm not referring to the inactive Democrats. Maybe about another 30,000 are inactive. That's why you get a total of 60-some thousand. But 30,000 at least are considered active. Where were they at? Where were the almost 22,000 active Democrats at? I don't know. I wanted to go over this. This is Yonkers Ledger. Results of 2023 primary elections in Yonkers. The most heated primary election season in recent memory culminated on June 27th after over a week of early voting. Even with the abysmally low turnout, these elections still generated a lot of news with some upsets and close races. And that's because you got a lot more people speaking about it, right? Here at Basement Politics, and people have been encouraged more recently to just be more vocal. And so you see people, coming out to meetings, the term limit meeting and the redistricting meeting. So people were, really coming out. It's a fourth term, right? They extended terms again. This is a fourth term. This is something unusual. This is new. And so that's why it got a lot of attention. And people are still talking about it. The mayor's race, obviously the mayor, Mike Spano, winning 5,558 votes. Corazon came in second with 16, just over 1,600. And Margaret Coleman didn't break 1,000, although she was being predicted as going to be the second runner-up in this race. I didn't think that was going to be the case, so I pretty much got this right. The newly drawn first council district, so we have Deanna Robinson with 790, Shatika Parker at 671. That's not a huge difference. Effie Phillips, I believe she was in there to cut or split the votes. That's what she was there for. Effie Phillips. So imagine if Effie Phillips was not in the race. Those 292 votes would have gone to Shatika Parker, putting her over the edge for the win. And that's what we mean when we refer to splitting the vote. It still wouldn't helped Corazon. I mean, the mayor got just way too many votes. Would have gave Corazon just barely another 1,000 votes. She still would have been, less than half of what the mayor got. But here in District 1, definitely the splitting of the vote played a factor. Effie Phillips was there to split the votes. Effie Phillips did not make it really known that she was running. Anytime you see a candidate in the race there that you really don't know, you don't hear about, they're not out there, you don't really see much about them. Sure, they may do fundraising. Don't let that fool you, right? And those fundraisers are not usually for the public, right? There's invite only. I mean, who can afford to pay, $500, $1,000 for an unknown individual? It's not like she's asking for $10 donations here, right? I mean, she's running for one of the poorest districts in the city. So where does that money ultimately go to, right? And I'll leave for that for you guys to figure out. But there, she's definitely was there to split the vote. Effie, you did that. Come on. 12-year council member. This is another, probably besides the mayor's race, District 5 was another important and very attention given, or it was given a lot of attention because of what's been happening there. Mike Breen, he's known, right? He's one of the more famous of the council members, more infamous, I guess, and not, for good reasons. So, but he barely won. He barely beat Ron, who didn't do a whole lot of also publicity and, as much. I think Ron Mattin did more for Ron Schutte than Ron Schutte did for himself. Ron Mattin was out there, and had Ron Mattin been in this race, he may have actually won, right? But maybe would have been the same result. But Ron Mattin was out there. He had the retired Breen machine. He was at Breen events with the banner. But I didn't see Ron there. I didn't see Ron do a whole lot. But look, they're 10 votes apart. I would take a look at that. Most certainly, I would take a look at that. And here's an upset. County Legislator District 16, the incumbent Johnson losing by 600 votes, just under 599 votes to be exact. Shanae Williams had a big smile on her face as she stood at the podium with the mayor. Right? I don't know why I didn't. I looked at that and I said, "Oh my goodness!" Right, this girl. Like, it's because it's not earned, right? It's not earned. And I would imagine that she got a little extra push. It's only 600 votes. The Westchester County Board of Elections will certify the results in the coming weeks. Then the race for November general election will officially begin. Mayor Mike Spano will face off against Council Member Anthony Moranti, and Shanae will be up against Debbie Kozak. There were some uncontested primaries that present a general election choice to voters. These include Jose Alvarado versus Jose Diaz. Jose Diaz, for you folks over at District 17, and Jimmy Nolan defending against former legislator Ruth Walters. She wants her seat back. Will she get it? They did some stuff there. So that's an upset. See what happens. Again, they're not finalized, but they will be very close there in District 5. District 1, that happened because of splitting of the votes. Effie Phillips should have just stayed out of it. You knew you weren't going to get voted in, Effie. No one knows you over there in District 1. What have you done? We don't even see you around. Come on. When someone does that, it's like, come on now. You should be active before you run for office, right? You should be involved. Get to know the community. Get to know the people that are already involved. Come around. Do something. Speak up. Come to the meetings. Be a voice for the people. Show them, the people, the voters, that you are a strong leader and you are ready to represent and willing and are not afraid. But we don't see that. I saw that from Shatika Parker out of the 3 women. And that's why I say Shatika Parker was the best choice. But many people did not come out to vote. That's the problem. The people that came out to vote, it's almost like their job. It's like they're obligated to, just about. It really is for a lot. There's a reason why they have to come out to vote, and it's not because they want to exercise their right to vote. It's just what it is. Moving on, Hector Santiago, who was not in the primaries because he was taken out, kicked off the ballot. I spoke about that yesterday, but he will be in the race. Actually, that wasn't mentioned down here I believe he's going to be in the race. That's what I'm hearing. On the Working Families Party line against Tasha Diaz in District 3. But he's still dealing with this incident, which Tasha Diaz caused. She started this. Well, actually, I like to think actually the city council president kind of set it off. She set the tone. Tasha Diaz just took it too far. Both were inappropriate. but she got people worked up. Yet she wasn't removed. Tasha Diaz didn't get reprimanded. She didn't apologize for the way she behaved that night in the city council chambers, for what she said to members of the community, and for the fact that she created this melee. And now Hector Santiago, a member of the Human Rights Commission, an individual who worked with the city for many years on his Stop and Shake program. I remember the officials holding him up like a trophy, attaching themselves to a man who walked from Yonkers to Albany to bring awareness to mental health. And they saw that as beneficial for their image and campaigns. And I want people to see this, because once you are no longer an asset, if you are not beneficial in any way, you get tossed to the side. This is for all you minions. I'm not a minion. That's why I went through this war. That's why I went to war, because either I'm going to be respected or we're going to go to war. And whatever happens, happens. But many people just go along with it until they're thrown under the bus. Like Mike Cater is another example. And I'm sure I can think of others. But Hector Santiago, here he is now dealing with these court cases. Back and forth to court. He lost his job as a result of having to go to court. So he's been hurt financially. His chin was hurt. I'm sorry, I thought it was funny. Hector Santiago distributed a press release to over a dozen news outlets on Monday, June 26th, that described his arrest and assault during the city council meeting to extend term limits, his ongoing court case, and the silence he observed from city officials who were once utilizing his ideas, his connections to the community, his ability to bring people out, bring people from a certain community out, and gain support for a specific candidate. But now they quiet. In fact, Tasha Diaz, you know, Hector Santiago came to defend your honor. That's why he and I got into a scuffle. He came to defend your honor, Tasha, and Lorraine Lopez, and y'all know where to be found. The raucous display during the council meeting in November to extend term limits for the mayor and city council was well documented, and the near chaos of that event was mentioned last week on WNYC radio show hosted by Brian Leary. A caller into the show described how she felt during the administration, used their goons to intimidate residents during the controversial proceedings, and I played that clip. And it was then that editor-in-chief of Black Westchester magazine, A.J. Woodson, cited the incident where Hector Santiago was assaulted and then arrested by Yonkers Police Department. But if you have, if you let the police department tell it, they will say that Hector assaulted the officer first. And the officer, I happen to know, good guy. I don't want to say too much of his business, but he's a good guy. He's in a relationship with a good person. I don't know what happened there. It's a tough one. It's like, damn, it's a tough one. But I do know that it was bad for the city. It didn't make us look good as a city. It made our government appear to be ghetto. We should be ashamed. It's an embarrassment. That's the big issue. That's what we should all be talking about, and why we should vote Tasha Diaz out. You want to help Hector Santiago get justice, vote him in over Tasha Diaz. Tasha Diaz is an aggressive individual who has known to assault people both verbally and physically, has made physical threats of violence to her colleagues. And we all saw what she displayed, that behavior she displayed the night of the term limit meeting. So make sure you factor that in, you guys and gals in District 3. It's time to come out. Make sure you come out and vote. The free food will still be there. Guarantee you that. Tasha Diaz does not bring the food. She stands by it and does selfies and lives, okay? So the food will still be there. And any other resources that they have provided, because that's not unique to them, they will still be there. Please don't let that deter you from voting for Hector Santiago. This discussion of his case appears to have spurred Santiago into publicly responding with an update. The 600-word statement first describes how he was forcibly removed from the city council chambers after yelling, "Vote already," towards the council members. He said that as Tasha was going off, calling people beggars. In the outer hallway, a member of the mayor's security detail reacted to Santiago, shrugging him away with a closed fist punch to Santiago's face. Additional officers then threw Santiago to the floor. Santiago was arrested and held in the Yonkers City jail for 22 hours over the night of Thanksgiving Eve. He has since presented himself in court 21 times. 21 times. This is like a perfect example of what Latinos and Black males go through. You know, it's a shame that we got an individual like Akeem Jamal who can drive while under the influence, and I'm going to talk about drunk driving some more in a second, under the influence, crash into an oncoming car because he was driving the wrong way down Central Avenue. Sources allege that he also had drugs in his car, yet he had been promoted after that. He received raises after that, did not go to jail, and currently works for the governor. Those are the difference between people that are in a certain economic class. And why does it appear to be Latinos and Blacks that always get the short end of the stick? Why? Because we are at the lower end. We are at the bottom class. Majority of us are at, poor class, working class, the powerless class. Well, in perception anyway, because united, we have all the power, but we're divided among ourselves. And when we learn to unite, we will see just how much power we have. And they're scared of that. But it's a class thing. So this individual whose family can provide funding, contributions, receive jobs, promotions, all the while the individual committed a crime. But look what Hector Santiago, an individual from the south side of Yonkers, grew up impoverished, facing many challenges, traumas, I'm sure, that have impacted him as an adult, things that he's had to work throughout his life. And look, he's still here trying to represent District 3. He has done a lot more for the community than many people who have less of a history than he does have done. He didn't drive down the wrong way drunk with drugs in his car, allegedly, and hurt someone, nor did he drive drunk after having 17 drinks, killing a 16-year-old boy. The lack of response beyond recitation of historical facts, Santiago's claims aim at the government officials who remained silent after the incident. He is critical that no one would condemn the violence of that night or call for the officers to be disciplined. Everyone in an authoritative position is trying to pretend it never happened, including Mayor Mike Spano. We know only 2 officials who responded publicly, YPD Commissioner Sapienza and Majority Leader Tasha Diaz, who played the victim. She played the victim. Commissioner Sapienza appeared to lay the blame squarely on Santiago for the events that night, and Majority Leader made no reference to Santiago's assault while defending her actions as a response to badgering and harassment at community events, says the woman who has a track record of badgering and harassing, threatening, being verbally assaultive, verbally assaulting to people, and physically assaulting, according to reliable sources. She assaulted her own stepdad. She jumped him. No arrest. The criminal case against Santiago creeps on likely into the late summer, where if found guilty, he will only pay a small monetary fine. The result of that case may impact the civil suit. Santiago has given notice that he will file against the city of Yonkers for violating his civil rights. Santiago has also announced his candidacy for the 3rd District City Council seat to replace incumbent Tasha Diaz. And speaking of driving under the influence, I saw this in the Yonkers Ledger as well before I get up off out of here. Manslaughter charges for drunk driver in Sawmill River Parkway fatality. Manslaughter charges. Charges have been upgraded for an alleged drunk driver involved in a fatal accident last summer on the Sawmill River Parkway. Elena Castillos, a 29-year-old woman, was arraigned Tuesday in Westchester County Court on charges including 1st and 2nd degree vehicular manslaughter for her involvement in the 2022 death of 22-year-old Adriano Ramos Leconte of Manhattan. Castillos, who was originally from the Bronx, was living in Florida at the time of the accident, pleaded not guilty to upgraded charges. Castillo's charges stem from an accident that occurred on July 1st, 2022, after she crashed her car near McLean Avenue in Yonkers, according to Westchester County Police reports. At the time, she was driving northbound with a young child passenger at around 1:15 a.m. when she lost control of her vehicle. Castillo's 2016 Hyundai sedan hit a guardrail on the passenger side, crossed traffic, hit the median, and spun around onto its stop, facing the wrong direction and in the right side lane. Leconte, the passenger of a 2022 Honda CRV and witness to the crash, stopped to help. As he stood by the passenger side of Castillo's car to assist the young passenger, a third vehicle crashed into her car and killed him. So she isn't the one that killed him. It was another vehicle that hit him. But her charges were upgraded to manslaughter. Think about this. And I'm telling you why I'm reading this. At the time, Castillo was charged with aggravated driving while intoxicated, a felony that considers potential harm to the young passenger in the car. Testing later revealed that Castillo's blood alcohol content was nearly 3 times the legal limit and above the 0.18% threshold for an alcohol level related aggravated DUI. Fault and appropriate charge. Well, the case is unusual since Castillo did not kill Leconte, right? She didn't kill him. It was a third vehicle or another vehicle, I say. Prosecutors are likely seeking upgraded charges based on New York case law, which outlines that while a defendant may not have been the sole cause of a person's death, their actions directly contributed to it. Last week, a Westchester grand jury indicted Castillos on upgraded charges of first-degree vehicular manslaughter and accused her of causing Leconte's death due to intoxication above a 0.18%. Now, yes, she was it says due to her intoxication, but she didn't hit him. She didn't hit him. I don't want to sound like a harsh person. I'm just trying to break it down. Had he not stopped to help and be a good Samaritan, which, God bless him. God bless him and his family for doing the right thing. But had he not stopped, he would still be alive. So was it her actions or his actions? He made the decision to stop and help. Right? That's the right thing to do. I would have done the same thing, and God forbid, I probably would have happened to me because I've done it many times on the highway. I've stopped to help. An old lady one time on the Sawmill when her car just stopped in the lane by the McLean exit, actually, interestingly enough. Right? So the fact that he or she did not kill him directly, but she is being charged with first-degree vehicular manslaughter, and she's being accused of causing his death due to intoxication above the 0.18% blood alcohol level, blows my mind when I think about the CJ Hackett case. Peter, and maybe they should talk to this guy, the family. Peter Gertzen Zhang, an attorney from Albany who specializes in DWI suits, suggests that while the upgraded charges could see justice for the victim and closure for his family, proving fault in such a case will be difficult. I mean, yeah, because he didn't hit him. But the fact that the DA is trying anyway says a lot. Look how hard they're trying here to charge him with vehicular manslaughter and all these other charges, but they're seeming to not do the same in the CJ Hackett case. This one was a close call. He said in an interview with Lohud, it will depend on the nitty-gritty details of what happened here. The passage of time from the essence to the second will be key. Castillo faces a maximum, 1 to 3 years and maximum 5 to 15 years in prison if convicted under upgraded charges. So the upgraded charges give him 5 to 15 years. I just thought that was interesting when I think about the CJ Hackett case. Anyway, folks, I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Hector should have known better than to try to put his hands on a cop. His only excuse may be that he did not know Kilgore was a cop. In that case, I agree that the mayor should have had uniformed cops present at those controversial meetings, but patrol cops aren't his Gestapo. And if I were his attorney, I would that would be it for me. That would be the big key. Who was this guy? I thought he was some random guy in attendance trying to grab me up. I don't know. Didn't see any badge, any police markings, or nothing like that. I don't know. Just saying. That's just me. And I'm good at this because I've had to be over the past 2 years, right? So, it got me a situation here, and I'm going to talk about it in a second. This needs to go to civil court. Videos witness never take a case against the city to their correct court or county court. I think they have to go. Never hire a Yonkers attorney. They're in bed with one another. A constituent attorney is what you need. Constitutional. Absolutely, you're right. And my family has had an experience with a Yonkers attorney. I just came to realize this, and I'm going to be looking into this because we are owed some money. I don't care if it's from the 90s. I want my money. I want my family's money back. This was a scam they were running on a lot of people, specifically Puerto Ricans, because the individual attorney was using a Puerto Rican secretary to lure Hispanics to use his office. At times, he will win lawsuits and tell him he lost and keep the money. That's right. I'm going to be looking into that. So Hector attacked the cop with one arm. This is so ridiculous. Yonkers law. Folks, you got to make sure. This is Yonkers, right? So in Yonkers, you have to make sure that you protect yourself at all times, record everything. That's why I do it. People say, oh, you can listen, you have to, especially in certain situations, especially with certain people. This is something that I told my wife to do, very early on. I said, honey, if you ever gonna meet with someone at your job, a place of employment, your supervisor, whatever, make sure you're recording, because we never know when we might need this, right? And so we may have to refer back to it, because people will say something and then say they didn't say it, or say they said something else, and then it becomes your word against theirs. Unless, of course, you have audio that's undeniable, in which case you can prove what they said very easily. And so if they do deny it in court, they will perjure themselves. And no, I'm not talking about that YV guy. That guy too, but no, not him. I'm just saying. I mean, it's so blatant and obvious, and it's very well documented that it can go two ways. Either way, I think people are fine with that. What's also crazy is that it will get so out of hand that it wouldn't have been worth it in the end. Because when you are Freddie Vasquez from Basement Politics, people send you information, especially videos. The type of videos that will make a daddy cry. And so, I've made my move, and now I'm waiting. That's unbelievable, man. It's got to be heartbreaking. I would be so heartbroken as a papa. Man. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. I will always protect those that I love, and I will go all the way. And now, I'm waiting to see what the result will be. I'm just going to kick back, drink my Sunny Delight, and wait to see what move you make. Either way, it's chess mate. As one of my favorite rap groups and rappers, Prodigy, isn't that something? Prodigy from the rap group Mobb Deep once said, "I'm going out blasting, taking my enemies with me, and if not, they're scarred, so they never will forget me." I want everybody to know.
Freddie wins.
I'm Freddie Vasquez. The place where truth lives and corruption dies. Interesting video. Sad, actually. But thank God it's not about mine. It's about yours. And I will play that hand if that's what you force me to do. Don't bow down. I don't kiss ass. Respect me. Or not.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Gotta check your home first before you focus on trying to bring people down.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
When you're loved by people because you are a good person, people will tell you and provide you with the information.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
You want to get dirty? I'm ready.
Freddie wins. Fatality. Freddie wins.
Folks, what I'm talking about is unbelievable. Let's see what these jokers do, how they're going to play this. If they play their hand the way I hope they don't, then I'm going to play my hand and we will discuss it.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
And then we will move forward with legal action.
Freddie wins.
Because everything is well documented. Lie if you want.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
This will open up a can of worms like you've never actually seen before, folks. This might actually be the thing that blows it all up.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
And I'm just putting that out there because that's who I am. I can't stay all the way quiet, but I gotta send that message because I really want to go and squeeze your neck.
Freddie wins.
But I'm not gonna do that because I know that's what you want. Or they want.
Freddie.
So I'm going to play the game the way you play it. Disgusting and dirty.
Freddie wins.
Like
Fatality.
scumbags play the game.
Freddie.
You want to be a scumbag,
Fatality.
then I have no sympathy or empathy for what that results in.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Ball is in your court, homeboy.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddie Vasquez.
Freddie